Good evening. If I could have your attention, we can get started. Good evening to everybody. Welcome to the Fashion Institute of Technology. My name is Stephen Frumkin, and I'm the Dean of the J. M. Patty Baker School of Business and Technology. I'm very honored to be here this evening and to welcome you to our Dean's Forum, which will discuss the business of gender neutral. The forum is part of a series of forums that we have hosted here, such as the business of curves, the business of modest wear, the business of sustainability, that focus on how to implement today's relevant fashions seamlessly into the business world. As trends shift and as undefined markets grow, our businessmen and women must remain aware of the changes going on in the fashion world and learn to adapt accordingly. And that is just what these forums do. Tonight's event has been made possible by the ever so talented Cat Schuller, someone the Baker School has worked with closely for many years to bring inspiring and professional speakers to FIT. I would like to ask for a round of applause for Cat Schuller. And alongside Cat, our technical design department and its chairperson, Deborah Beard. The technical design department, including Cassandra Williams, I don't see other people, but thank you, has spent tireless months to bring everyone to this stage and you all to your seats. It is a big task. Together, they have collaborated to organize an evening which will lend insight to the relevance and magnitude of gender-neutral fashion and its place in the business world of today. To help us do this, we have 6 panelists joining us who will speak to the importance of inclusivity, representation and equality in the designs of today, and how to weave this into our fashion business practices. Additionally, our evening will include a small runway show that features the clothing of some of today's most relevant and forward-thinking designers who have a focus on gender-neutral fashion. As for our audience, I hope you watch tonight with an open mind and are able to use this information to guide your path as future pioneers of fashion. Thank you again to all of our guests, faculty, and of course, once again, Cat Schuller, for making tonight possible. Please remember, silence your phones and enjoy the evening.
To say that.
And no, but she is, and I appreciate everything she does. She does everything for FIT, for me, everything, and I'm in gratitude to her. So please, you can have a wonderful night. Thank you.
Thank you, Deborah. Welcome, everyone. This is a real honor to be here tonight to talk to you about gender-neutral fashion, and the future is fluid. And these are our sponsors tonight, our designers, the people who have put their passion and their time into my dream and the dream to make this happen tonight at the Dean's Forum. Seven Hands Design, Vish, Dope Tavio, Hardcore Fashion, New York Makeup Academy, Queer Cut, Lianza Zavo Exclusive, Next Level World, Trey Laveau, Bandelettes, Ia's Threads, and Carson Institute of Technology, of Cosmetology, it's Fashion Institute of Technology, and True Galt, Mons Lepore. I'm so excited to show you the fashions tonight, but before that, I always like to give a little historical perspective, why I chose this topic, why we chose this topic, why it's of relevance to me, and let's see. I'd also like to draw your attention to Neil Tandy's work in the lobby. Did you see the work that was the beautiful exhibition of all some of the models in the show tonight? Neil Tandy, would you please take a bow? I want to introduce the talented visionary. This is when you know somebody has your vision intact. The next day he calls you and says, I want to do an exhibition to hang in the gallery to honor all the people who are in the show and to show the lifestyle, because that's really what we're talking about, is how people's lives are lived and the clothes they wear doing it. So I draw your attention to Neil's work. When you leave, take a look at the beautiful photos that we've done for the past 2 months, and you'll meet some of the models tonight who are in the show and who graciously gave a lot of their time for the exhibition. So the business of gender-neutral fashion. The future is fluid. Gender, as we know it, is changing in scope. If you haven't noticed, the male-female binary is a social construct. And it really ignores a lot of the intersex, transgender, queer, and other non-binary individuals whose identities aren't the same as the sex assigned at birth, and therefore not wearing standardized clothing or garments typically associated with a look of standard traditional male-female roles. We are going to be pushing the boundaries of male and female men's and women's wear. Those traditional categories are very blurred nowadays. Not just men in women's clothing or women in men's clothing. That is really not what we're talking about. It's a whole distinct new category. The buzzwords: non-demographic, non-binary, gender non-conforming, gender-free, gender-neutral, gender-queer. And a look that is neither male nor female, really. It borrows from both male and female, and in and of a class by itself, really. And it's truly creative and truly self-expression. And it used to be called androgynous or unisex or cross-dressing, but it's really not that anymore. The problem with the gender-neutral dressing is that fit issues still need to be addressed, because you have the body and its contours, and either the male or female body still, what's going on in their heads and their body and their physical manifestation of that is two different things. They can feel one way and their body can look another, but the fit has to be exacting. And that's what everyone learns here at FIT, is about fit and garment construction and how that goes into it, so that it's not just boxy and it's not just darts or princess seams that make a garment female, or just stretch in a garment. And I don't really like those boxy styles on women. They don't really show the contours. You can have gender-free. It doesn't have to be characteristic-free. It doesn't have to be detail-free. And that's what you're going to see a lot tonight, is that how that is expressed. Don't negate the silhouette or the proportion of the body who's wearing the clothes. There's a company called Bindle and Keep, and they do a lot of mostly custom bespoke. So a lot of what's happening with the gender-neutral fashion is being taken up with these kind of people who are finding the fit problems, and they're going to these kind of people to make their bespoke patterns and their clothing. And it's one way to ensure that the garment's made for you and for your body type, and expresses the style that you want to wear. So you can be natural sporty, you can be traditional elegant, you can be romantic feminine, you can be dramatic alluring, you can be creative artistic. It's all within the realm of what gender neutrality is. It's not just Chairman Mao clothes, okay? Gender neutral doesn't mean style free. It means just simply blurring those lines of what the male-female menswear looked like. And guess what? It's a very lucrative business. It's $44 billion. And that's not only apparel, but it's the products, the makeup, the facials, the nails, the shoes, everything falls within the gender neutral category, so it's really good for business. And it doesn't just stop at apparel. And I noticed my background is, my secret identity is that my husband was Captain America, and he rode Captain America longer than anyone, even Stan Lee. But I noticed when I married him, he's passed away 22 years ago, but when I married him, I noticed that everyone started to look like a superhero, that cosplay started to happen. And I noticed that the comic book world and art form has really infused the way we dress on a regular basis. I mean, regular streetwear looks like a superhero could wear it. And that's one thing that gives you power. So if you talk about power dressing, if you dress like a superhero, guess what? You start to feel it. I mean, you're not going to leap a tall building in a single bound, but you'll feel it in your essence. And that really infuses power and shapes the way you address and dress in the world. So I like the don't assume my gender kind of thing, because when you look at someone, you're judging them by what they wear. So skirts are for girls, pants are for boys, not so much. But I started to think about what the reasons for the gender-free popularity now, and I saw the play Gloria Steinem's play last night, and it's called A Life, and it was very, very interesting because I feel like the feminism, activism, human rights issue has really come to fruition and really informs the gender-free. They don't want to be told what to wear. They don't want to have those old rules. So it's really the anti-establishment kind of way of dressing, to be yourself. And style is being yourself on purpose. So there's gender equality in pay, that always, in the Me Too movement, and It's on Us, and the Time's Up, and all those movements have really started to infuse the gender neutral fashion. And of course, the LGBTQ influence. Function and comfortable. It's just comfortable to wear clothes that are gender neutral and that aren't too tight or show too much skin or send the wrong message. You can really send the message that you want to send as your own self-expression. And inclusivity trend, the inclusivity trend in wardrobing. And size concerns, basically, in the 70s, I had to shop in the men's department because I was tall and I was a little more plus size. And so I was used to buying clothes in the men's department, and it was really kind of not gender neutral. It was just because of a size concern and a length concern. And the longevity of the wear. It doesn't go out of style. You can wear these gender-free clothing, this gender-free clothing look for years, and it's stylish, and it's self-expressive, and it's really you being you. It's longer lasting, and there's sustainability there. And one of the panelists is into sustainability. So I think the equality and the sustainability goes hand in hand. Because if you care about the planet, you care about a person and their right to self-expression. And it represents the ultimate freedom of choice. You get to choose what you get to wear and how you wear it. So the history of gender-free clothing is nothing new. I mean, these clothes in the 1600s were very feminine. There was skirts and knickers and hose and wigs and makeup and jewelry. And then the Oscar Wilde look, the Beau Brummel look, very, very polished and pulled together. And have anybody heard the Yankee Doodle went to town riding on a pony, stuck a feather in his cap and called it macaroni? Macaroni actually refers to the wig that was worn in the 1770s. And it was a self-made dandy, a fop, so to speak, was kind of a middle-class man who was impersonating an aristocratic lifestyle. So they notably wore these silk suits, very bright colors. They stuck feathers in their hats. They carried 2 pocket watches, one to tell what time it was and the other to tell what time it was not. So very affected. And high heels were first worn by men. And partly because they were getting their feet into stirrups, and the heel was much more functional with a stirrup. But in the 1600s, women began wearing heels to look more masculine. So that prompted men to stop wearing them because they didn't want to look feminine. And then if anyone saw the exhibition at the museum across the street on pink, it was all about the history of pink and how it used to not be feminine. It used to be associated with men, and it used to be associated with very high-class caste system because it was a very difficult color to make, because when you dyed it required a lot of time and effort to get that right pink color. And it was very expensive to create clothes in a pink color. And it was intense color, and it was associated with men in those days. So in terms of like the modern media, I think Kate Hepburn was one of the first film stars to really wear pants, which caused a big controversy. And when she was asked about it, she said, well, I like flat shoes because I like to move fast and I like to walk fast. And when you're in heels, you can't walk fast. But when you wear flats with a skirt, it doesn't look good. So she wore pants because that looked better with the skirt, with the pants. And, you know, she became a rebel in her time. But a very, because she was so beautiful too, she was like a beautiful woman in a man's suit. It was very, very evocative, and it caused a lot of controversy. And Dietrich too. She was one of those renegade kind of people, and she believed in being her own self and challenging the limitations of femininity. And she's I dress for the image, not for myself, not for the public, not for fashion, not for men. So she was relying on her good looks, striking voice, and witty intelligence. Dietrich achieved fame during her long career, and she was known for wearing pants as well. Now we wear high heels with pants. So it's kind of a blurred line there too. So that's a feminine look with a masculine association with an article of clothing. So really what caused the distinction between pink and blue was Madison Avenue. Because in the 1940s, suddenly the geniuses on Madison Avenue said, you know what, we're going to start marketing pink as the color for girls and blue as the color for boys. And the baby clothes came out in those shades. And you thought, if you're having a boy, you're going to wear blue, and if you're having a girl, you're going to wear pink. But then that changed in the 70s because there was this prenatal testing that happened, so then you could find out what you were having. And it was, you know, it was a more appropriate color to have pink, but then the 70s happened, and that became kind of like, why do we have to wear pink for girls, and why do we have to wear blue? So I think the feminist movement really caused people to really question, why do I have to wear pink, and why do I have to wear blue, and why do I even have to ascribe to these kind of set roles in society? And it was a very, very turbulent time. So some of my influences in the 70s and 80s, Divine was probably the only plus-size woman that I actually saw in having a good time and really influenced me a lot with her. And the whole drag aspect of it was Glenn taking on the role of women and dressing in drag. And I think RuPaul has done so much for changing people's attitudes about drag and how underbelly it was, and how it was seen as kind of, you saw the Paris is Burning kind of movie. It was really a dark underbelly, and RuPaul brought it to life and gave a lot of meaning and significance to drag. And I love that RuPaul is in and out of being a fabulous out of drag or in drag, and is such a great role model for living your own best self. And then when I was growing up, Twiggy, with her famous androgynous boy haircut, was a boy body. That was the bane of my existence. You know, I couldn't look like Twiggy. I wanted to, but I couldn't, and it was an androgynous look, and my body didn't look like that at all. So for that to be, you know, what we saw, it was, you know, Wallace Simpson said you can never be too thin or too rich. I think that was part of what played into trying to be something you weren't. And I couldn't subscribe to the Twiggy, and it caused a lot of anorexia, and there's a lot of backlash about that being the only body and the boy body being the only one that was fashionable. And after Twiggy, of course, somebody like Robert Plant had long hair. So the turbulent 60s were a real tumultuous gender blending time, and you were adopting all the androgynous roles. And of course, Andy Warhol, a huge influence on the art scene. And when I first moved to New York, his superstars and all the Max's Kansas City and CBGBs and all that was a huge influence on me. And it really turned my head around and opened my eyes to a lot of lifestyle choices. And David Bowie, another huge inspiration. You could never pin him down. He changed like a chameleon, but he always was very fashionable and, you know, androgynous too. So everyone identified with him and was inspired by him. And when I first moved to New York, the New York Dolls, everybody wanted to be the New York Dolls. Every single, you know, glitter rock, whatever was going on, and they really pushed the lines, and people were lining up around the block to see them. And they dressed very outrageously, and they were very feminine, and it was glam rock, actually. When I moved here, that's what New York looked like. And it was a wide open Wild West down in the Lower East Side. And this was my first shoot that I styled for the stilettos. And that's my boyfriend in the back there with the black girl leaning on him. And, you know, I did the whole Lou Reed Transformer makeup on him, and I had a Goosey Goosey t-shirt on him and gave him platforms. And, you know, that's Debbie Harry, and I put her in that Ziggy Stardust motif on her dress. And Elda, with her suspenders with no shirt, and how those suspenders never moved. They stayed put. And I didn't even have double stick tape in those days. And that's Elda in the middle, and she started the stilettos, and she invited Debbie, and that's Amanda. We don't know whatever happened to Amanda, but actually my sewing machine made Debbie's dress because I had a sewing machine, and nobody had any money for anything, so we all made our own clothes. We all created our own image, and every night it was like, let's dress up and let's push the envelope, and let's see how theatrical we could actually be. And then the stilettos performed a lot at CBGB's. That's my boyfriend on the drums. And there he is again. So I decided stripes were going to be the motif for that night. So Blondie went around it with it. And then Studio 54 hit, and then we were all costumed to the nines. Talk about superheroes. You had to dress up. You went home, you took a disco nap, and you got into an outfit. I had a white jacket, and I put neon handprints on it, so I glowed in the dark and the disco lights. You know, you were thinking about your audience when you went out. And then Annie Hall came came along in the tomboy style, and it was all the rage to wear vests and men's ties and men's shirts and khakis, and she really revolutionized that blurred line. And now models are representing the gender fluid look. That's Rain Dove, and, you know, having this shirt that says I'm not a boy. And Zandwagon is a great agency that I use and has a lot of outlier models and interesting types. And I just love how diverse and inclusive Zandwagon is. And that's Ken Zand with the beard in the middle there. That's his agency. And some celebrities that, you know, kind of are rocking that androgynous, gender-free look. Ellen DeGeneres and Portia de Rossi, Brandi Carlile and her wife, Catherine Schuller. I think they do a great job. They look fantastic, too. And the Fluid Project is one of the first gender-free stores, boutiques in New York, and it's in Soho. And we're actually going to have a panelist from the Fluid Project speak about the trend that's happening. They've been in business a year. They celebrated a year in business this week. And they just do a great job of having an inclusive retail experience and gender non-conforming customers. They have panels and events and all kinds of things that bring people into the store and bring them together. You're going to find this is a big community of people all supporting each other and their right for self-expression. Sam Smith identifies with being non-binary, and he's had it rough too because, like me, he's a plus-size guy who the record business kind of said, you've got to lose weight to sell records, and he said, no, I don't, but he also goes one step further and really takes on the gender, and he feels he's a mixture of things, and he's his own special creation. And that's how he takes it. He's not necessarily male or female, and how he was born is not how he defines himself. It's all on a spectrum, and I like that. I like that a lot. And Billy Porter, did anyone see the Oscars? The skirt tucks. Whoa. That is an awesome wardrobe choice. And he was in Kinky Boots, and he's in this new television show, Pose, so we're going to see a slide on that. Cody Fern from American Horror Stories. I think he really gets a really great look going there. And then Asia Kate Dillon, she's a non-binary actor in the hit television show with Paul Giamatti, Billions. She is really an incredible influence. She plays this character, Taylor Amber Mason. And she just, it's so refreshing to see these kind of roles and archetypes on television. And Cara Delevingne, I mean, you never know what you're going to get with this model. She can look like a boy, she can look like a girl, she can blur the lines like nobody else. Every single picture that I researched on her, sometimes she's in a suit, sometimes she's in a dress. And this is the show Pose. If you haven't checked it out, it's really very an interesting retrospective on the 80s and how they explore the ball culture world and the fashions that were happening. That's Billy Porter right there. He's in that. And there's a whole thing on gender-free parenting. Celine Dion has come out with a line called New Order. So there's a lot of popularity in raising your children so that they don't feel forced to be those old stereotypical female roles or stereotypical male roles. And we're going to hear from some of the panelists who have some very interesting insights on non-gender parenting. And this is one of the LGBT communities I support, and there's a lot of homophobic activity going on in Russia today. And Khrystana, who is in the show, is from Serbia, and she has brought my attention to how much prejudice and how much persecution that the LGBTQ community is going through even as we speak. So this is kind of one of my charities that I put a lot of effort into with her. So let's get on to what gender-neutral fashion looks like. I can't wait to show you the designers that I've chosen. I think they show a whole panoply of styles and the models who are wearing them. I think it's a category that's really evolving, and I was talking to the Fluid Project, and they are trying to rebrand themselves to be even more gender neutral. What that means is a freedom of choice, like I was saying. It's the complete opposite of conformity and predictable fashion looks. And the aesthetic is kind of non-regimented, non-conforming. It's fashion, not fascism. So we're going to start the show now. I can't wait to show you the designs that we have picked. But to start the show off, this is one of Khrystana and my favorite artists right now. Talk about expression, style being yourself on purpose, the aesthetic to really put yourself out there and be the person who you feel is a reflection of your inside. And the stories we all have, each one of you has a story. Everyone sitting in the audience has a story and an influence, and we are powerful, and we can do outrageous acts of love every day and make a difference in the world. And you're going to meet some models who have moved me and touched me, and I'm so excited to introduce to you one of the singers who I met at the Blonde show. He's actually wearing one of the fashions from the Blondes. And I want to introduce you to the song stylings with the song Influences by Baby Yor.
Have a good night.
Beautiful. That adds new dimension to the puffy jacket. I just wanted to take a moment to do something completely unconventional and introduce you to the models because they've given their time and their passion, who they are, brought their self-expression to tonight's performance and fashion show. So I want them to say their name, the pronoun they like to be referred to by, and their passion project or their profession. So you'll get to meet the models in person now. Thank you, Roman.
Hello, everybody. My name is Roman. Can we just give another round of applause for the amazing team who put this show together? Seriously. Thank you, Kat, so much for shining a light on a topic that needs to be discussed, gender-neutral fashion. Again, my name is Roman, guys, and personally, my passion project, I've been working on myself personally a lot in the past year, and all I can do is project that out to everybody else, and that you need to be the best version of yourself. People outside of our lives will always try to put you in a box, and that's not where you belong. You belong to just flourish and be who you want to be, and by night, I'm a bartender. Oh, sorry, pronouns are they, him, and her. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Carmina Suzanne. I prefer the pronouns her. And in addition to being a disabled plus model, I'm also an opera singer. And no, I'm not a diva, but I have a very low voice and I sing in the traditional male range of bass and baritone down here in the basement. So I fight this same fight in the classical music world to get gender constrictions off the voice.
Hi, my name is Alex. I go by they, he, she. I work at the Fluid Project, which is the world's first gender-free clothing store ever. And I'm an icon in the making.
Hello, everybody. My name is Duck. I go by a preference of female king. That's my pronoun. I'm carpenter. That's it. You know, that's what I love to do.
Hi, my name is MJ Markovitz. I use they, them, theirs pronouns, and I am a professional contemporary and modern dancer, currently training with Alvin Ailey. Yeah.
I'm Steph. I go by she and her. And my passion project, well, I'm half Venezuelan, so my family's gone through a lot of crazy stuff down there. So my passion project is empowering people in third world countries through with the use of cryptocurrency. So.
Hi, my name is Ronald Rentas. I go by he. My passion project is at Follow My Beer on Instagram. I'm building a community through my beer and but developing very positive content. I'm going to be launching my beer products Father's Day. My full-time job, I'm a menswear technical designer.
Hi, everybody. I'm Corey Mays. I prefer to go by he or him. But Yeah, I recently gave up pharmaceutical packaging so that I can get into the travel business and discover the world.
Hello, everyone. My name is Sebastian Grant. My preferred pronouns are he and him. My passion project is to live my life as artistically as possible. And my day job is I'm a professor.
What's going on, guys? My name is Gio Delavici. I'm a model, actor, boxer, spoken word artist. And I like to motivate people. I do a lot of motivational speaking. I would like to give Catherine Schuller a big thank you. Derrick Grant, his family. You know, as you can see, I'm wearing Derrick Grant's outfit. You know, I'm very privileged to be in this show from Brooklyn, New York. I have a pretty cool movie coming out May 17 with Keanu Reeves, so look into it. Check it out. Thank you for having me.
Hi, my name is Bear Spiegel. My pronouns are not preferred, they are mandatory, and they are they, them, theirs. I am an actor, model, and drag performer known as Bad News Bear, and my goal is to use performance to question, expand, and bring joy to the concept of gender.
Hello, my name is Terry, and you can call me She. I'm a communication skills coach, and my passion is voice and educating people about what their voice tells others about them, and then how to use their own voice authentically.
My name is Buchanan Moncure. My preferred pronouns are he, him. I used to be depressed. Now I'm a spiritual advisor on the internet.
Hi, I'm Selena Mylene Santana. My preferred pronouns are she, her, and I am an actress and a model, and I love helping people realize that the tension in their bodies are connected to the tension in their emotions.
Hello, my name is Angelina Stanek. My preferred pronouns are her and she. My passion is my LGBTQ plus clothing line called The Allies, and I'm a middle school student.
Hello, my name is Achima Misashvili. I'm a writer and opera lover. I don't have a preferred pronoun.
Hi, my name is Vidal Francisco. I am a model, a musician, and a Disney princess. My goal is to teach children about queer issues through inclusive fairy tales.
My name is Jonathan Lee. I'm a senior at FIT in the Advertising and Marketing Communications program. I'm also a fashion journalist with FIT's Blush Magazine Online, and my pronouns are he and him.
Hi, my name is Kendall Leary. You could call me She. For the past year, I've gone to work with the Theater Collective, and our mission has been to empower women and minorities through theatrical installations. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Phil Harris, fashion and jewelry designer, 62 years. I'm just so happy to be in the room where I don't feel like I'm up by myself. I've been doing this for a while. Catherine, I thank you. Because this is needed. You know, we need to be able to be free in whatever we wear, and we need to feel good about it. But I need to say something. If you're going to be different, be different. If you're going to be free, be free. And that's what this is all about. This is all about being free. And I thank everyone. Thank you.
My name is Jamari. My preferred pronoun is he and him. On my free time, I'm a model, but my day-to-day job, I work for American Airlines.
I'd like to keep it on, please. Hi, my name is Brian. My preferred pronouns are which, he, him, his, whatever you want to call me. My passion project is my skincare routine, and thank you. And I am a freelance fashion production intern. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Alicia Green. My preferred pronouns are she and her. So I have a couple of passion projects. One of my projects is working on social justice spaces and BDSM communities. So, yes. Yay. So we have a project that's out right now called switchtheseries.com that a bunch of us put together about what it's like to work behind the scenes in a dominatrix dungeon. Check it out. My other passion project is doing social justice work in museums, specifically for children and early education spaces, and also making spaces for trans-identified children and allies. So those are my passion projects.
Good evening, everyone. Catherine, thank you so very much for allowing me to be a part of this amazing night. My name is Jolene Nunez. Call me what your heart desires. I am a model by day, evening, and night. I'm also working on a project to allow people to express themselves with no reservations. And I'm a very big advocate and activist for emotional and mental health. And I'm so happy that everyone in this room, especially us on the stage, we feel very, very open, free, and confident in our skin.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Kimante Wright. My preferred pronouns is whatever you want to call me. I model and I work at Zara.
Hi, everyone. My name is Constance Smith. I'm a plus-size model. My preferred pronouns are her, she, and hers. And as a plus-size model, I'm just trying to push the boundaries within the industry to accept women bigger than a size 18.
Hello, good evening. My name is Giovanni Frazier. My preferred pronouns are he, him, and I am a dancer choreographer currently working on my second feature film. Check it out, Giovanni Frazier Dance Theater.
Hi guys, my name is Sarah Hamill-Smith. I'm a plus-size model, digital influencer, and storyteller through model management. My passion project is I create imagery to help desensitize people from seeing plus-sized women in fashion, and I tell stories to inspire and empower others to love themselves regardless of whatever they identify as, to just really embrace who they are. And my preferred pronoun is she.
Good evening. My name is Lisa Castillo, and I am a model, plus size, kind of an in-betweenie. And I also want to give a huge thank you to Kat, because without you, we wouldn't be here right now. Okay? You're amazing, but anyway. Child, that came out of me. I am an independent advocate for child abuse awareness, and I believe that children should be able to grow in their light, uncompromised, and unharmed. I'm a grandmother, and yes, thank you. And spreading love, genuine love, and just happiness to whoever I meet is also a passion of mine. I love y'all, and good vibes. Good energy.
Good evening. My name is Pamela McCauley. I too am a plus size model. Preferred pronouns are she, her, and hers. And for the last maybe 30 plus years, I have worked on behalf of crime victims, but in particular, supporting intimate partner violence victims. And my secondary passion project is writing about relationships. Thank you, Kat.
Hello, my name is Valeria. My preferred pronouns are she, he, they, depending on the date. My passion projects, I am a child development and family studies major. I am also an artist of all forms and sorts. I like creating from nothing. I'm created to create. And at nights, I'm a bartender. At days, nights, evenings, I model.
Hi everyone, my name is Hector Serna, he, him, his. I am a professional ballet dancer with the Metropolitan Opera Ballet. And I'm very lucky to be doing what I do, as my passion is what I do, and just to raise awareness for diversity in classical forms, just like ballet, and like Miss Opera over here said earlier.
Hi, my name is Justin Inman, and my preferred pronouns are anything that's respectful. I am a receptionist at a queer hair salon in the West Village, and I'm an aspiring wig stylist and actor.
My name is Lloyd Leary. My passion is health and bliss. I'm a massage therapist, personal trainer, and nutritionist, and everyone on the planet is beautiful.
Hello, everybody. My name is Rain Lejeune, she, her. I daylight as a baker, I moonlight as a playwright, and while I don't have an official passion project, I do in my free time try and go down to my home state of Mississippi to help out the LGBTQ plus community.
Hello, my name is Nancy Pop. I don't really have preferred pronouns, but you can call me she, they. Yeah. And I'm an actress and a producer. I'm currently working on 2 feature films, and my passion project is that I love to paint.
Hi, I'm Callan Alexander. I go by she, her. I am a plus model and also a nanny.
I'm Natalie Hernandez. Hello. Hey. I studied cosmetology and I am an exotic dancer by night.
My name is Hannah Lovegren. My preferred pronouns are she and her, and I'm a plus model, and in the daytime I work in accounting.
Hi. My name is Angelica Khrystana Torres Extravaganza of the House of Extravaganza. Yes, darling, thank you. You can find me as Angelica C. Torres on Instagram. I am a model, actress, and activist, and I have been advocating for the LGBTQIA community, more specifically for trans women like myself, since I was 16. So I've done Oprah, MSNBC, America's Next Top Model, always as a proud trans woman. So my passion in life is to uplift my community, to make sure that my community is seen, they are heard, and they are not suffering the way that a lot of us had to 10, 20, 30 years ago. So.
I just wanted you to have a chance to meet all the people I know and love and have worked with on this project, and how important you all are to me, and how much you brought life to all the clothes tonight. Let's hear it for the models again. We know who they are now. Nobody ever knows who a model is. Come on. So, that was enjoyable. I loved seeing fashion. It just inspires me to the greatest heights. And Jerry McGlone, her jewelry, inspiring jewelry. Erica, ornamentation and crime, another inspiring artist. And of course, we love her because she's associated with Deb, and Deb's bangles are on display. So this is the time of the program where we get to meet some of the people who are the influencers, who are rocking it in their professions, and gender fluidity is something that they're really deep dove into a long time ago. Some of them recently, some of them on another level with other aspects to their business like sustainability, accessibility, inclusivity, diversity. So this is the really interesting part of the night for me, is to meet the panelists. So first up, Chris, I want Chris to come over. Chris Tabasi, my co-producer, my partner in crime. And without him, this project certainly wouldn't have happened, because he walked me off the ledge many times, and he calmed me down, and he's a hard worker, a diligent, passionate individual, and I'm so honored to know you and to work with you. And you're beautiful inside and out. What really matters. Have a water. Yes, hydration is good. So the first panelist is a dear friend of mine, and he's a classically trained human anatomist and a cell biologist. His name is Derrick Grant, and he was educated in Montreal, Canada, where he attended Vanier College and McGill University. He completed a Bachelor of Science, a Master of Science, and a PhD. He minored in art history, painting, and drawing as his hobbies, I guess. He has taught at several medical schools. He uses 3D programs and transfers images to canvas and material cloth and enhances them with acrylic paint to intensify the visual effect. So Next Level World was his designs that you saw in the show. Science and art combine in his apparel now, which he considers art pieces, and they've been shown in many expos, galleries around the globe as he continues to move away from science into the art world. The gender-free market is perfect for his artistic apparel, as the models and clients he designs for all speak to his fluid aesthetic. Derrick Grant. Yes, Derrick. And Ira Faraoni, award-winning international fashion designer. Aya is known as the prolific force behind Aya's Threads. It's a brand known mainly for exotic, stylish, and eco-friendly handbags. So all the handbags that you saw that were of sustainable material were hers. And it's very innovative and textile invention that she uses in the Philippines. In January, she was named one of the 60 nominees in Remodistas 2019 Women to Watch in Business Disruption, a list of retail executives from around the globe solving complex and forward-thinking challenges. This has led her to passions while aspiring to make a difference in people's lives through fashion and design, with a mission to lead a revolutionary change for people and planet through ethical and sustainable fashion. She combines her leadership experience that she got from when she was elected at age 18 as the youngest municipal council member of a local government unit. Together with her degree in business and love for fashion, she launched Aya's Threads bags in 2017. These sustainable luxury handbags and minaudière are intricately hand-woven from natural Buri plant fibers produced from exotic provinces in the Philippines, and she creates a variety of jobs and incomes to many communities and families of weavers. And we all know that the weaving art is very precious and has to be passed on and trained and taught. Her mission is not only to empower and provide rare style and everyday elegance, but also to highlight environmental awareness and sustainability. Aya Faraoni. And Josh Williams is a co-founder of Queer Cut. Josh is an experienced creative director, consultant, educator, and personality. Joshua has a master's degree in global fashion management from FIT, IFM, and KHPU, and a bachelor's degree in theater arts from BYU. His expertise includes fashion branding, advertising, social media, and retail. Clients include JM, Adornia, Miguelina, and Valeria Hash, Andrew Mark, VH1, Save the Music, and West East Magazine. He is the co-founder of Queer Cut, as I said, an LGBTQ marketplace, is currently working on a book that considers the intersection between gender, sexuality, and fashion. Joshua was a full-time professor and chair of fashion merchandising and management at Berkeley College for 5 years, responsible for 1,000+ students and 30+ faculty across 9 campuses. In 2016, he developed the fashion design program for Bergen Community College. Additionally, he's taught for LIM, the New School, Gateway, as Telemark in Norway, and as a guest lecturer at EAFIT, Medellin and Bogota, Colombia, ISEM in Madrid in Spain, and University of Navarre in Pamplona, Spain. Joshua is currently faculty at FIT here. He recently developed 3 courses for the MFA and MPS graduate programs, which he teaches. Each week, he hosts Faces and Places in Fashion, interviewing iconic fashion innovators right here in the Katie Murphy Amphitheater. Joshua Williams.
So next up, we have Lianza Zavo. Lianza has become known for creating luxury, one-of-a-kind accessories with a Baroque influence that when worn render the wearer unique, avant-garde, and sophisticated. Her couture pieces are now being featured at the Valentino showroom, go check them out, and are distinctive and handmade in her atelier when she balances doing PR for her family's elegant East Side restaurant, Zavo. Please welcome Lianza Zavo. Next up is also Preston Souza. Hey. Preston is Chief of Staff and Product Curator of the Fluid Project, House Mother, a gender-free retail space that celebrated its 1-year anniversary in New York City this past week. The 3,000 square foot store is bathed in white with large windows and high ceilings. Located a stone's throw from the heart of Soho, it's part retail, part experiential platform aimed towards gender nonconforming and gender fluid consumers. It's self-perpetually the first gender-free retail space in the world. What the Fluid Project is proposing is less about clothes, though there's a lot of them, and more about creating an inclusive retail experience for gender nonconforming customers. It's all about freedom of choice in this store. Please welcome Preston Souza.
And Khrystana, who one of my friends met on a bus. And guess what? It went from there. And here she is here tonight. She is a curvy model. She's signed in New York City and in Europe, and a body love and humanitarian activist. She was born in Siberia and later moved to the United States and now resides in New York City. As well as her modeling career, Khrystana was on cycle 24 of America's Next Top Model. She's used her platform to help people around the globe to be more accepting of their bodies and who they are by speaking at academic campuses, meetups, writing and creating digital art, focusing on all diversity, and more so, she is the creator of the Real Catwalk, which I actually participated in, a pop-up fashion show that focuses on bringing people of all beauty together to redefine beauty standards. She's grown her engaging following to 253,000 followers on Instagram, and she communicates with them so brilliantly. Khrystana has worked in global campaigns and is continuing to dive deeper into her passion to serve everyone in uplifting and empowering ways. Khrystana!
And finally, co-hosting my co-producer and moderator of the evening, this beautiful, beautiful individual here, Catherine Schuller. With, yes, a round of applause, yes. With decades behind her in New York City, Catherine lives by the motto, I want to be the person I wish I had met when I first moved to New York City, right? As one of the first plus-size models in the early 80s, she has been used to smashing stereotypes and providing opportunities of diversity, inclusivity, accessibility, and sustainability. She has helmed many companies and championed many causes and brought many people up along the way. Her company, Catherine Schuller Enterprises, comprises a runway production called Runway the Real Way, modern makeover mentors, and her fashion and tech platform, High Tech Moda, fashion forward innovation. She is image and style director of Divabetic, a charity outreach for women living with, affected by, or at risk of diabetes, started by her executive director and former assistant to Luther Vandross, Max Zazdek. Together, they create unique and unconventional programming with the mantra, wellness with a wow, and glam more fearless. Catherine Schuller.
Thank you, esteemed panel, for being here. I think we're going to delve deep into some really great questions. To start off, you have a microphone. Excellent, Derrick. How does the new gender nonconformity affect business vision, your business vision, and the decisions that you make concerning how you market your brand?
Well, first of all, I'd like to thank Kat Schuller for her invitation, and thank you so much. This is amazing. The people, the models were just fantastic, and it's great. Every time I come up here and do something with you, I meet people that are genuine, honest, and open-minded, which I really appreciate. Thank you so much.
Authenticity, yes.
The question is, how does this gender fluidity help us in creating designs? First of all, for years, from I was small, I've always drawn and created images that do not pertain to any particular gender. And I think, just like the art that I create, gender and what you wear and what you choose to wear is about the same thing as what an artist chooses to paint. You cannot tell an artist that just because they paint like Picasso, they're no good, or they paint like Manet or Matisse or anything like that, they're no good. They paint what comes from their heart. And I feel it's the same thing about clothing. And what I've found is that by having the freedom to create whatever you want is spectacular. It's like painting. And I'm an artist, so I know about that. And every piece of clothing that I create, it's seen in my vision, it's a vision in my mind, it's expressed, and the more people that wear that piece of clothing, the happier I am. And I'm happy to provide clothing for male, female, trans, anyone, no matter what gender you may think of yourself. And that makes me really happy. And I think that's good for business also, because you have more people to market to.
Right.
And you have more choices, and the people themselves have more choices. I remember the time when I first came to America, well, a long time ago, when I used to spend my summers here in New York City. And everywhere store you went to, it was the male store and the female store. You either went to Brooks Brothers, or you went to a female store that only had female clothing. And at that time, my grandmother dragged me in there, by my arm. Come on, let's go get something. And you look around the clothing, and I started enjoying the clothing there. And she said, no, put that back. That's not for you. And I asked myself, why? Why the separation? There is no separation. If you look at us as human beings, we are consistent grays. We're every bit of the spectrum from one side to the other. So why can't we wear everything in the spectrum?
Does anyone else want to talk about how their branding is a little more fluid now? What they're thinking about in terms of the non-gender, non-conformity?
Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. I believe that clothing is how we convey our real identity to the world. So whenever I design something, I always have that thought that how can we present our inner beauty to everybody? So I wanted to make pieces that is available to everyone, any age, genderless, any color, any ethnical background. And I think as a company's perspective, in order to reach that innovative strategy that you need for your business trajectory, business or brands needs to be more fluid and more inclusive for everybody.
Joshua, why are gendered businesses in fashion also part of the trans narrative?
Well, you know, it's interesting as my role as a co-founder of QueerCut, we have a lot of conversations constantly about what is queer, what is being queer. And we've really come to this idea that queer is not so much an aesthetic or a particular visual representation, that in fact it's everything in between. It's a state of mind, really. And so our conversations are a lot less about, you know, trans, butch, whatever it might be, whatever those labels are. And it's much more, how do we create a space that's sort of authentic to everyone? We like to use the word anarchy a lot because in our heads, this idea of queer fashion is really anarchy. How do we sort of become the true individuals that we all are and not have to necessarily define ourselves, you know, by a particular pronoun, by a particular shirt that we wear, or particular colors you mentioned earlier. So really just sort of breaking that down all the way down to its sort of core, which is wear what the hell you want.
So this is a question open for anybody that feels comfortable asking. How do we get this message of individuality out to places where it is not so freely celebrated? Khrystana?
Sure. Does it work?
Yes.
Is it okay?
You guys can hear her, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I think fashion is so powerful because I feel like with the internet and TV, people all over the world could see what's happening. Like they think it's so powerful that you can come out with pieces that are gender fluid, and it affects mentality of those people who definitely, I guess, a little bit more closed-minded. Like I'm from Russia, and like we know what's happening there and how, like the idea of being in the box is so important for your survival. Like you have to try to be in that box. But I think with TV and internet, slowly but surely we introduce art is so powerful. It affects not only minds but hearts, and hopefully somehow it will change what's happening in the world. Just to accept person's individuality. I believe that every person can and is allowed to shine their themselvesness. I don't know the word. And it saddens me, of course, that in places like from my own country, it's so still difficult. Like we're in 2019, and I believe like this today will definitely do something out there. I know for a fact. There's, like every single little post you do, you think might be one person out there it will affect. It's all influence. Every single, like every step, every word. I love the Fluid Project. Amazing. So many people just talk about it. I know this little store that happens to be in New York City already changed many hundreds of people's minds somewhere, like in our countries. We were talking about earlier, Yoga, Malaysia, right? Yes. So, like, yeah, don't ever underestimate your power. Today, I love that everyone introduced themselves and with their own pronouns, like the pronoun, so powerful. Then this way we can educate each other. Like it's such a good reminder because somebody might not know, or maybe somebody didn't know yet that it's such a kind act. If you don't know, just ask. Like, what's your pronoun? What's your affirmed pronoun? Just ask. Like, and it's an easy thing to do, and you build like good bonds, and it's kind thing to do. And today was one of those examples. I am so appreciative of that. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
So, Preston.
Yeah, and I think it's a lot about leading by example, and it's hard to be the first, but if there's any place in the world that's going to do it, or any group of people that are going to do it, it's going to be the people here in this city and in this room. And it is the small things that we do every single day that's going to make us a better version of ourselves and spread that message. So even the fact that you're all here is something.
I'd like to add to that. As a designer of my luxury accessories that are French inspired, I've actually grew as a designer throughout the process. Initially, I started designing my luxury accessories and I labeled them myself as seductive and feminine. And I put myself in a box, now realizing that there's so much out there, and it was a learning process that I had to go through myself. And now that I'm spreading onto others, and I feel like that's powerful, that I grew, and I feel that it's limitless. You know, you have to grow every day and learn. And when I met Kat, I feel like she opened up my eyes to this other world, and I'm very thankful. You know, I come from a place of two different, it's totally opposite. I have roots from Russia and I have roots from Israel. When you go to Israel, everyone is free-spirited. You do whatever you want. When you go to Russia, everyone is basically in a box. You know, you can't do as much. So, you know, now it's like I'm spreading the views to people to say, hey, if I can do it, and you don't have to be conformed and put yourself in a box, then everyone can do it as well. So I'm very happy about that.
I wanted to ask you a little bit about how sustainability and social justice and equality factor into your business, because on the panel, you of everyone kind of live that mantra and live that mission. Can you speak a little bit about your sustainability and also about how the Philippines raises children to be non-gender? That was very fascinating when I was talking to her.
Yes, among other equality, we cohere diversity and inclusion with sustainability. Like I said, our brand was founded with a mission to lead a revolutionary change for people and for planet. So as a company, we want to redefine the industry as a brand and initiate a positive transformation as a brand that is low on sexism but high on sustainability, and operate more responsibly towards all front, either society, ethically, or environmentally. Yeah. And I think sustainability go hand in hand with all other equality, either diversity or gender fluidity, because after all, sustainable fashion in its truest sense exists both to minimize our impact on the planet and at the same time protecting the well-being of those who inhabit it. And all other equality echo that sentiments, which is to carefully considering and championing the human form. So, and also you ask about how that part of the global market, the Philippines, towards gender fluidity. And I think it is subconsciously progressive in the sense that there have been in ancient Asian traditions, Japan already wore kimonos. In the Philippines, there's still tribes that wear sarong, or what we call skirt for men. And also that country is one of Southeast Asia's most tolerant countries towards LGBTQ. So actually, parenting-wise, mothers or parents have a widespread embrace towards clothing that ignore gender, because there's a lot of especially in children and in the younger generation, they're having that sense of acceptance of who they are, and also the society is influencing that. There's a lot of beauty pageants for transgender. There is Mr. and Miss Gay Philippines. And in television shows, there's a lot of talent contests that involve LGBTQ. So for parents' perspective, they are proud when their children come out of their shell or when they reveal their true inner self, because also children tend to show their wonderful talents gracefully when they reach, especially in acting, singing, and dancing, when they reach that level of acceptance in their lives.
Well, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
So those are all the positive aspects of gender fluidity. What do you think are some of the biggest obstacles that you're facing with your business in terms of approaching this niche now? I see Preston shaking his head.
It's definitely challenging being the world's first gender-free store and filling that with product. And it's really hard finding gender-free designers that are designing at an accessible price point. I think that's the thing that's the most challenging for me. It's done at a designer or a couture level, which is really hard because people within our community don't necessarily have the access to that money. So we're working really hard at the Fluid Project to elevate our in-house brand and keeping it at an accessible price point. And these are things that we're working really, really hard to address.
Yeah.
From an academic point of view, I research a lot about this sort of interconnection between gender and fashion and identity. And I think that there's this idea of visibility and invisibility. And I think, especially in the queer communities, in my own personal experience, of just being able to be visible as a queer person, to be seen as that, but then also not wanting to only be seen as that, right? So there's this sort of conflict at times of how out am I and what does out actually mean. is fluidity actually the possibility of wearing a suit one day, a dress one day, something, in between one day? Or is it in fact sort of this, are we kind of falling back into to binaries by sort of transitioning from one to the other? So I think that's sort of what, as a business, that we're constantly talking about is how do we sort of facilitate actual fluidity as opposed to sort of putting a label on it and trying to. That's very difficult from a marketing perspective because all of a sudden, where are your demographics, where are your psychographics that you typically use to go out and reach these audiences? So that's certainly something that we talk about a lot.
I think also one of the problems we have now is the narrative, the current narrative in the country. We're almost stepping a little bit backwards. If you look at New York, the East Coast, things are progressing, things are growing. There's an enlightenment. As you move more west, there's a little more restriction to what can be worn, what can be sold, and under what label or what perception. Yes, and I think that's unfortunate that we're moving back in that direction, especially when many countries. I was a Canadian. I grew up in Canada, and it was a different perception completely than the perception we have here towards clothing and towards identity. And I think we have to start moving in the forward direction again.
Yes.
Yes. That actually, yes.
So, we want to open up the floor to some Q&A. So if anyone wants to line up, there's the microphones over there, and we're going to have like one last question for everyone. Like, what events, what projects, what products, what you're working on right now that you feel that you want to introduce into the market.
If you don't mind, I'd like to. So at the Fluid Project, we're really trying to start designing things for a solution in mind for the community. So we really want to start introducing things like binders or tucking underwear or packing underwear or these necessary needs that you can't find them anywhere unless you're ordering them online. And we want to just try to make this more accessible for everyone.
Yeah, that's a great point.
And that's speaking from a New York perspective, especially. Like we have to recognize that at this moment we're all within New York. And for myself, I'm Latino and Persian. I grew up in Southeast Asia. The perspective of gender is so completely different there. The market is different, the niche is different, and it's even right here we have such a diverse panel with such different, I guess, histories and backgrounds that they're bringing to the table with these discussions of queer identity. And is there anything within, I guess, this panel that you guys have understood within a global perspective as to how queer identity can be perceived or how it can be better shared as opposed to just this grouping, this bubble, the bubble of New York, these safe spaces that we've worked to create, but all these other places that don't necessarily have safe spaces that we have this privilege of having.
I think that safe space is the actual correct term there, right? Finding ways, whether it's online or at the Fluid Project, where it's not just about clothes, it's about getting together, having conversations, disagreeing, agreeing, working through conflict, coming together, having, all of these types of things, I think need to be facilitated. This is a really, wonderful start. But I think that not only do we need to expect this to happen at an institution like FIT, but we need to expect this to happen at conferences around fashion, around trade shows, around modeling agencies. I mean, these are conversations that really shouldn't be sort of off to the side, right? So creating those safe spaces anywhere that we can, and to not make fun of those people who might not understand so that they can be part of that conversation. It's difficult sometimes to have to bring people up to speed.
Yes.
But, and I know we all kind of feel that way probably in this room, that you're constantly having to educate people. What does queer mean? What is this and that? But I think it's a process, and if we can create spaces to do that, and you mentioned online, I think that's a wonderful way to do it, even through Instagram, just in the way that we hashtag things, the way that we connect other people.
Yeah.
And on an optimistic note, I get messages every single day from people all around the world asking, when is Fluid Project coming there? And, Philadelphia, Los Angeles,
Get it right, New York first.
The message is spreading, and it's spreading really quick, and it's thanks to all of you, and let's just keep doing it.
Yeah.
So let's open it up to some questions. We have the next 10 minutes or so. There's a microphone over there. If you want to have something brought to you, there's one over here.
No, there's no deceiving. We're just playing with you.
We can pass the microphone over to some people.
Yeah, you can go ahead. Thank you for asking.
Hello, everyone. I'm so glad that I'm here. My name is Soa Filomeno. I'm actually a United Nations Youth Representative and Delegate.
UN's in the house.
Yes. So I deal with the Youth Assembly. We actually do this assembly every year, twice a year. And actually, we're right now going to move to Washington for the first time ever. And I'm actually of the younger generation, but we have kids from 16 years old until 27. And one of the things that is a motif that I do champion for is inclusivity, is the SDGs. And within fashion, one of the things that I have seen for the last 3 years that I've been working there is that my kids, because they're kind of like, my kids, and the world's children, right, in the future, is that they're scared to be neutral with their fashion, especially in such a platform as the United Nations. So I would like to know if you guys have any tips for me so I can kind of spread the word. Thank you.
So may I rephrase, you wanted tips in terms of how your kids within this program they do within the UN can help exemplify their genderqueer identities without feeling any pressures or stigmas they need to adhere to because they're in the government?
Well, I personally think gender expression is truly about self-expression, and I don't know when gender became so serious. I want to live in a world where I want to wake up and wear heels, or I might be masculine the next day, but that doesn't make me any less non-binary or gender non-conforming. So I truly think it's just reminding the kids to have fun, to explore, to dabble, and play.
And yeah, that's something we've missed out, that fashion is fun. It's not that serious. Enjoy yourself.
Thank you so much. Go ahead. Could you?
We'll get someone to pass.
Take the Trey. Do you mind taking the mic?
Trey Laveau, everyone.
Trey Laveau. He's a designer and a microphone manipulator.
Multifaceted.
Go ahead. No, go ahead. No, go ahead. First? Okay. Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for all the work that you do and for being here and for speaking with us. I would just love to hear, sort of branching off of what Preston said about feedback, from one of you or from any of you, an inspiring memory that stands out in your experience that you heard from someone, whether it was a client or a follower or someone, that really stuck with you and reinforced and reassured that you're doing something really positive for the world and for the community.
One time, this mother and their child came into the store, and I went to introduce myself to the child, and I asked their pronoun, and they said their pronoun was she, her, and it was a male sex assigned at birth. The mother ended up crying because it was the first time that child ever, used their pronoun or publicly, And that's when I was like, this is something good. We're doing something very positive here.
Good evening, panel of judges, or panel of distinguished panel. Thank you for having me here this evening. I have a question. I am a teacher of 24 years at a private Catholic high school, and yearly I have several students that come up to me with this conundrum of identity. And I just want to ask, how is the industry addressing the non-adults? I know you're all speaking about adult fashion and adult decisions, but what about the adolescents who are in between being children and adults? What is the industry doing to entertain and address the possible confusion and or the possible decision about what they want to be and how they feel about themselves?
That's a good one. That's an
Yeah, I think there's a lot to parse out there.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the silver lining is that in many ways maybe the narrative is flipped in the sense that I think that, especially in my classroom, that it's really the students who know what they want and are able to communicate it way better than adults. I think, especially Gen Z, we're hitting a point in time where labels don't matter. There is this idea of gender fluidity sort of built into their worldview. And so in many ways, I think it's more about a conversation about how to find the words to converse between sort of older generations and younger generations. You know, it goes back to this idea of visibility and visibility again, because labels are a way, and fashion is a label, as a way to label oneself, to be able to be visible and sort of communicate to the greater world. So, you know, this is, again, something else that we talk about a lot, because there is something very powerful about a queer aesthetic or a queer way of dressing or a queer concept. And if we get too far away from that, perhaps that might lead away from having these conversations. But I do think that the model's flipped. I think it's the younger generation. We can call them the Tumblr generation. Unfortunately, Tumblr is, you know, dead to me. But
tumbled right on out.
But, you know, I think they're in many ways leading the conversation, and that isn't to say that there aren't real, you know, necessary conversations that happen around identity and sexuality and gender at an early age that do need to be addressed.
And I'd like to comment further on that I agree 100% what you say. In addition, don't you find that many times it's the adolescents, it's the young people that introduce the change into our thinking, into our present. And actually look at the young people, and I see what they're doing, and I observe that they're the ones that are making us adults think twice. The ones that are stuck in the old age. And so I salute the adolescents, and what we need to do is help them more, to say, think about what you would like. Create your own world. And I think that's where you get more expression, more enthusiasm and life coming from these kids.
Exactly. Acceptance.
Reaching for the mic, yep.
Hi, everyone. My name is Mary Ellen Kernigan, and I'm thrilled to be here, and I think everything and everyone here is so extraordinary and so beautiful, and this is a very touching evening, and I want to thank everyone involved in it. I'm a former plus-size model, worked with Catherine for many years, worked with her, and you know, I follow her around as one of her groupies. So
she's not a stalker, though.
You know, right? I'm not a stalker. I'm just a groupie. One of the things that I just wanted to mention is in Kath's introduction, and when she was talking about history, my father came from Scotland, and he came to the United States as a teenager. And now this was, you know, back in the early, 1920s, 1930s. And he came as a teenager, and at his first day of school, he went to Erasmus High School in Brooklyn, and he wore his kilt.
Oh, God, yes.
And they freaked out and sent him home.
Yes.
So even then, even though it was a cultural issue, because you wore your kilt at special occasions. I mean, he grew up, and in the fields and when you were working, no matter what time of the year it was, he wore short pants and a Shetland sweater. And that's what everybody wore. And on a special occasion, you wore your kilt. So he wore his kilt to school, and in Brooklyn, New York, they sent him home because a boy doesn't wear a skirt.
I remember when I was in high school, we had to petition to wear pants. We had to sign a petition, and you could only wear pants, not jeans. And that was, in the 70s in Pittsburgh. And I was like, oh, well, they let us do it because it was cold in Pittsburgh.
I experienced the same thing because I went to an all-girl Catholic school, and we had to wear our skirts and could never wear pants. But I just wanted to bring up that history continues to repeat itself, and we have to find these ways to fight it. And each and every one here has their passion project, and it's to fight for equality. And I think it's just a beautiful thing, and I want to thank everybody.
Thank you. Good teamwork, yes.
I'll pass the mic.
Hi, everyone. I'm Carrie Gibbons. I am planning on launching my own line in the next year aimed at queer women and non-binary folks, which made this event like super appropriate for me. I wanted to know how specifically I know how I'm going to market to queer women, but I'm not 100% sure how to market and brand myself as being not just open but welcoming of non-binary folks.
I mean, I think for the Fluid Project, what we do is it's choosing real people and making sure we are having a diverse group of people that are representative of the real community. I think there's so many beautiful faces here, and it's the real authentic deal. And I think, you know, we're very fortunate at Fluid where we've spent minimal dollar on marketing, and that's because we've had authentic, real support from people. And I think that's gonna go a long way when building your company. And let's talk.
Yes.
I brought my business card.
Keep it real. Authenticity.
Yeah. Audience question?
I have a question. I don't need a microphone.
Well, stand up, Alice.
So, we do live in a capitalist society where everyone's trying to make money. Part of being the LGBTQ plus community, how can we distinguish which mainstream brands are exploiting the community for dollars? And start making our decisions by helping brands as opposed to going to mainstream people who just have more money to then buy what they want. So how can we...
I know we kind of need that we have it for sustainability with, as she said, the SDGs, which if you don't know, it's Sustainable Development Goals. So they're put out by the UN. We need something like that, you know, where you can go and research a brand and see how authentic and how real they are in addressing on a very grassroots level, and you feel connected to the merchandise you're buying, and you know no one's exploited, everyone is uplifted and empowered by this product because you're wearing that energy. That's why, you know, you can't wear fast fashion anymore without thinking about Rana Plaza or any of the Mary Ellen. Her brother worked a lot in terms of the human trafficking and human rights in the factories and labor. And so I'm very aware of what I'm wearing has energy in it. It has the energy in it. And that's why these designer clothes have the energy of the designer in them. And you should have what you love and love what you have in your wardrobe and nothing more than that. And demand that.
Well, and I should add to that ultimately we as consumers have all the power. If we're not spending money there, they're not in business. So, I mean, that's as simple as it gets. We get to choose who stays in business. And I think that we can intuit sort of who those brands are and being authentic. And I think, by the way, there's a vast array of different levels. And, you know, I don't want to sort of throw everyone out that's sort of trying, because I think that trying is the first step, hopefully, towards getting to a better place. You know, whether you take like a Uniqlo or a Ted Baker, and I know that there's conversations happening. For me, they're still feeling a little inauthentic, but at least they're talking about it. And so I think, you know, we have to sort of put our dollars where we want to, because that's the proof in the market that these brands have to change.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm the same. You can't really know who is really genuine and who is not. You can do research, but with recent events, with a lot of justice, social justice warriors, of course, the diversity and inclusivity became a trend. Unfortunately, or not unfortunately, I can't tell you, because there's always good and bad side to every story. So yeah, there is more. Like, I remember being a little bit upset where, like, you'll see diverse cast during certain time, like during Pride, you'll see big brands hiring different people, and then suddenly the time is over. Then August, September, it's all forgotten. You can't be queer for 1 month. You're queer 365. So it's
turn off your queer.
So you can. You can do research, of course, follow your heart, but at the same time, again, it's really hard to say who's making decisions out there. Because there could be, you could always say like, oh, this big brand, they only want money. It's really easy to blame, but really we don't know who is out there. The casting director could be fighting there so hard for that inclusivity, for that diversity. We really don't know. But if you do research, obviously, like there are a lot of brands that are really beautiful to support in general. Like word of mouth, you have Instagrams, you research, do all that stuff. Like, you know, like if you want queer people, like if you want queer-run brands, research. You can just Google it and there'll be articles. People always share different blogs. Like I think it's rather easy. But it's hard to say because I remember I created like Peter DeVito and I did this project that we casted. It was called More Than a Trend because we were really kind of upset with what was happening. But then as deeper I dived in, I was like, we really don't know. We really don't know what's behind. So I'm not gonna go after them in a negative way because again there could be heart and overall there was exposure that is good because there's exposure in the countries that there's less access towards that inclusivity and diversity. So I'm not really mad about it anymore, I guess. That's what I'm saying. But I'll still support who I support.
Yeah, yes. Go where you know. So we have room, time for another couple questions. That's it.
Oh, there's one. Yeah, we got a balcony. Yes.
Oh yeah. Hi. Here, rattle your jewelry.
I'm wearing a watch. I'm sorry. So my name is Chanel, and I'm a communication design student going into the advertising and digital design program here at FIT. And I wrote down my question because I know I was going to get nervous. And yeah. So something that I remember doing growing up was watching America's Next Top Model with my mom, like since season 1 and everything. So I'm kind of a fan. I really appreciate how the show is trying to become more inclusive, and watching you, Khrystana, the past season, wow, I'm struggling. Watching you, Khrystana, was really refreshing because of how genuine and true to the cause that you are. And following you since then, I've learned that you've had to detach yourself from what the industry says you should look like and become comfortable in your skin. So my question is, at what point for you did inner beauty start to reflect outer beauty, if that makes sense? I don't know if that makes sense, I'm sorry.
Maybe, could you rephrase if that's all right, the question?
So like, oh wow. My heart is racing.
How long have you been real,
Mine too. I'm actually
girlfriend?
nervous myself, so let's be nervous together. That's
okay. So
That's Khrystana for you.
at what point
Let me
did
have coffee
like
with you.
your thinking, I guess, start to show?
The action, the actions kind of like, right? When did I start?
If that helps you answer the question better, yeah. It's all my fault, I'm so sorry. Like, at one point did you say, or did you start to think that...
Oh, accepted. It was never like a switch on and off for me. It's like, and until today, it's like this.
Yeah.
And I think it's normal for everyone has, not everyone, but a lot of people might have that. Like this morning I might be really, like right now I'm very accepting of myself, I'm very comfortable, but maybe this morning it was completely opposite of that. So it's not like, it's just that I've learned to own up to my own narrative. Because this talks so much, and I'm kind of started to be okay with this. Like, okay, this is not me specifically, it's my words. Just kind of like understanding, like, what am I, what is this, and what is this saying that I am, and just accepting. Like, I just started accepting slowly and owning who I am and not being afraid. Because before it was a little bit more, I lied a lot more about who I was and putting up pictures of myself that definitely did not look like myself, because I would edit even the edited images. Things like that. It's just more owning up and be comfortable. People not gonna like me, some people will. It's just like, Like, I don't like myself sometimes. It's just another day.
She's perfectly imperfect.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We have room time for one
It's like a
more,
little bounce.
One or two.
Yeah, one more. Oh, hey, we got one up there.
Hi. Can you guys hear me?
Yes. Beautiful.
Hi, how are you? So this is kind of just a broad question for anyone who wants to answer. I grew up with very close family in the LGBT plus community, and who also happened to work in the fashion industry my whole life. So I saw growing up, that's just, they helped raise me. I just grew up with the mindset that the fashion and art industry are one of the most, you know, progressive, accepting, inclusive industries that there are, which is probably what drew me to this school, actually, looking back on it. And I was just curious to know, from your guys' opinion, why you think specifically the fashion industry, the art industry, and New York in general is kind of like the pioneers, and that they are so inclusive and progressive, and they're kind of like at the forefront of things. I was just curious to know what you think.
I can start. I think that, you know, fashion really is both a business and an art, and so I think in that way there is space for creativity, and that comes also in terms of how one presents or how one is able to share their artistic vision to the world. I'll push back though a little bit. I think that the fashion industry on the outside is very open, but I think inside it's not. I mean, I think I can say this as a white male, but it's mostly run by old white males, and so we have a long way to go before that really starts to deconstruct, I think, and really match what's on the outside. So I just wanted to make sure we we said that. Mic drop.
On that note, anyone else have any questions, any burning question? One more hand. Great.
Is there a mic? Who has a mic? Anybody got the mic? Oh, there's a stand. Can you yell? Cool, perfect. Yes, please.
Thank you, Asa.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Sandra Galt. I'm the CEO and founder of True Galt.
Yay!
Hey, thanks.
The shoes in the show.
Catherine, I love you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sandra.
You know, I feel everything that you guys are going through, and with the LGBT community, from a True Galt perspective, we think fashion is both an art and a business, but because we're based in technology, we don't do shoe size. It's your size. So we scan your feet, and we make the shoes to fit you. We actually, out of the thousands of customers that we have a percentage that are from this community. And they have a hard time actually asking for shoes. So we create a safe zone for them so that they can come forward. But I think the way it's going to change is that you take size away, because it's irrelevant. If you want to wear heels today, fantastic. Who cares what size foot you are? Yes. And so who cares, right? You should be able to wear anything that you want, clothing or shoes, and we'll start from shoes and work our way up the body. But everybody should have that opportunity, and I think that's where technology can come in. And to change, I agree with you. I've been in the fashion industry now only for a couple of years. A lot of old white guys running it and trying to raise money. I'm actually getting money outside of that community. So I think it's going to take people from the outside coming in to break up this perception, and that when you take away gender, you take away size, you take away design, and it can be whatever you want. And I believe technology can actually help you do that. That's my thing.
Thank you, Sandra.
Kat, I just had one thing to add to that. Kat?
Love.
One thing I had to add to that is that to really expand, I've been in fashion for a while now, and I noticed that it's very hard to break into the fashion scene. It's hard to break into the market where people actually advertise and spend money on your clothing over the entire year. You get periods where there's high sales and no sales at all. What I think we have to do as a collective here is make Madison Avenue, may not be Madison Avenue anymore, but make the advertising industry realize that we're out here, that there's different things that they can buy, things beyond the conception of what is sold at the department stores. And I don't know how we're going to do that, but I'll put it to the panel here. How do you think that we could get Madison Avenue to change and stop advertising boring stuff? There's
Don't
so
buy
much
it.
out here, you know?
Josh said it best, don't buy it.
You don't buy it. I do think technology is a way, though, to bring this quicker, because at the end of the day, if we go all the way back to sort of prehistoric, it was a custom business anyway, right? I mean, you were making your own clothes, your mom was making your clothes, or your tailor was making your clothes. If we can kind of get back to that one-on-one approach of engagement, and technology is definitely a way of doing that, we can just all, like I said before, wear what the hell we want.
Have what you love what you have. So, all right, go ahead. All right, a couple more.
I think it's mostly about resilience, continuing to bring the conversation and pushing the conversation forward, because a lot of these cis white hetero men, they don't need to think about what it's like to be a trans person or a non-binary person walking into a store. They don't understand that struggle. And so it takes people like the folks up on this panel, the folks that just walked in this show, to step up to the plate and say, listen, this world in terms of gender is not as black and white as you would like to make it out to be, as much as you would like to think that it is. It's not that. And you also have to mention that being genderqueer, being trans, being non-binary, this is nothing new. We go back to the history books, thousands upon thousands of years. And so unfortunately, it is on our shoulders to be the ones to step up and to say, this is not the normal to just identify as one or the other. We all have to keep pushing that message forward. So that's all I want to say.
So we'll get the hand up in the back and then we'll come to you. Thank you.
I was just wondering who your biggest fashion inspirations are for like all people on stage.
Well, if you don't know Jacob Tabaya, you need to look them up for sure. Amazing style icon, also incredible activist and a great author. Just released a book, gender nonconforming story. It's called Sissy. It's a memoir about their experience coming out as gender nonconforming, and they're amazing.
I'd make a shout out to Vivek Shraya, especially his book around I'm Afraid of Men. But in terms of design, I love Radharani, who's the first designer to show at Haute Couture Fashion Week a women's collection that was really no gender at all.
I think mine was Chanel when I was very young. I watched a lot of stuff in the 50s and 60s and just loved it. Just fell in love with the cut, the fine tuning. But for color, I say, it sounds a little cliche, but Versace brought color to my eyes. He didn't care what anybody thought. He put the color out there, and that's where I followed.
To me, I don't have a specific fashion icon. I grew up in a small province in the Philippines where it's a tight community, and I grew up where there's ladies that would make their own clothing, and there's a community that would put up like anything and then make it a beautiful piece. So to me, I opened my eyes into that, to where being an independent designer or a person where you can express what you want in life through the things that you can make, that's what's important for me. Yeah.
So I would say Chanel as well. I used to work for them. I was a stylist for Chanel for about 5 years, and I feel that has changed the whole couture world for me and made me realize that I should do bespoke as well for my clients, and connect personality, psychology, and fashion together and have that out there. And Gabrielle Chanel, she was a genius. And Karl Lagerfeld, you know, may he rest in peace. But I feel like that he also changed a lot, and he was an icon. So definitely Chanel.
Oh my gosh. I loved, have you seen the outfit that Baby was wearing? Oh, yeah. Like that's by the Blondes. And I just don't know, like everything for the Blondes, so good. The cast of models that follow the shows. I don't watch all of the fashion shows during New York Fashion Week, but that's like so good. And it's so much drama. Gender conform, it's just beautiful.
Those are performance clothes. Clothes to perform in.
Yeah. Yeah.
Perform in your life.
But that.
One more question from Gio.
I would like to add to everything you guys were saying and, ask you guys a question. First of all, it's an honor to be sitting here with a lot of successful, powerful, influential people. And I would like to say, in life, there's nothing impossible. You cannot spell impossible without the words "I'm possible." If you break impossible down, you get impossible.
I am possible.
Those that mind don't count, but those that count don't mind. So everything you guys do is for a reason. And I appreciate it. Me being somebody outside of the LGBTQ community, I admire the courage, the strength, all the great things you guys doing out there in fashion, business, and everything you guys do. And I would like to ask you guys, what does success mean to you? And what have you done to get to this point? How do you define success? To me, success means happiness. To be happy, being where you are, mentally, physically, and definitely spiritually.
I think success means spreading the happiness. Something that thrills you, something that makes you feel good, brings you joy, as is the phrase these days. If you can spread that joy, and someone else can put your clothing on and look at themselves and say, "Oh, this makes me happy." It expresses me too. It's like when someone buys one of my paintings, they say, "I have it in my living room, and every day I come in, it makes me smile." That to me is success. The money's not as important as that you've spread a little bit of the joy that started off in here, and you've given it to someone.
Because money comes and goes.
Exactly.
To me, success is simply having that self-fulfillment and making a difference in people's lives.
For me, success is the ability to keep changing so that I have another day every day to find something out new and to find something else about my own self. So to me, that's a success every morning.
To me, success is based on reinventing myself. I cannot imagine how many times I've reinvented myself. And I feel that if I don't, if I'm stagnant, I am not happy, not fulfilled within. So even if it's just picking up a book and just thinking on a different level, or telling my son something that he will smile about, it's just those little things that you can spread.
Well, first of all, thank you for being here, because we need allies. I think people within the community is great, but people outside supporting us, that's what we need. So thank you for being here. But to answer your question, I'm a bit of a dreamer, and it might kind of be a downfall for me, but success for me will be when we live in a world where people are living their most authentic self. And that may not be realistic, but until then, I will be waking up, busting my ass, and disrupting as much shit as I can.
Disrupt.
I copy you.
Ditto.
But I think it's such a stretch that there's so many definitions of success, but I think epitome of like my personal, where would I feel? As far as the feeling of that, successful, it would be, I'll go a little bit like, maybe it's a darker in the sense, but if I feel like, okay, if I die today, I'm good, like I don't mind, I have no regrets, and I think my intention to the world translated the way I would like it. If that feeling happens that day, that's probably when I feel successful. But again, it comes to that, what do you do for the world, to that overall, the world peace, the love, accepting, inclusive, truly, truly loving world, empathetic towards each other.
Can accomplish. So thank you all for your attention and for your passion and for your kindness to each other, and go forth. I saw the Gloria Steinem play last night. I'm still thinking about it. And she challenged us to do something outrageous every day. And then the next day, do something more outrageous. And I think that practicing acts of kindness and random acts of kindness, it truly, truly moves the needle. And just put it out there. Put something out there positive every single day, and be your own self. And style is being yourself on purpose. So rock it.
Yes.
Rock your style.
Yes. Spread that
No matter
love.
what that might be. Thank you, Chris. Thank you, panelists. Thank you, audience. We'll be out here packing up and whatever. And
Yeah, thank you. Keep the conversation going, sending love to everyone. Thank you.